Yarra Ranges Council, in partnership with Earth Systems and Yarra Valley Ecos, opened a biochar facility in Listerfield in 2023. The facility is just one action Council is taking to achieve net zero emissions by 2040. In the Yarra Ranges Shire, parks and bushlands span approximately 65% of the region. The management of woody waste on public land, especially after storms, can be a challenge. The facility turns this waste into biochar, a charcoal-like substance that offers many environmental benefits, including increased water and nutrient retention in soil.
This is the Yarra Ranges biochar facility, so Earth Systems is the operator of the technology here. We receive the wood chip from the local surrounding region, so it's locally sourced. The biochar then enters up through various conveyors through a dryer and into our char maker kiln. We pyrolyse it, which is high temperature, low oxygen, and we create a very high carbon content charcoal-like material called biochar. And that has excellent soil benefits, and that's what we produce here.
We're here at some biochar demonstration plots at Ecos. The plots have been cultivated with different ratios of biochar, which has been activated and mixed with compost and worm tea. We're monitoring the vegetable yields and soil over time. We are also experimenting with using biochar in the native nursery and also in our composting and worm farm systems, and we're seeing some really great results. Ecos offers educational workshops, and we're also working alongside local farmers to provide examples of growing with biochar. This is biochar. Its incredibly porous carbon structure acts like a carbon sponge, which has a great ability to absorb nutrients and water and prevent the nutrients from being leached out into the soil. And the structure also creates a perfect environment, perfect home for soil microbes. One of the benefits of adding biochar to the soil is that it locks carbon long term in the ground in a really stabilised form, which doesn't break down easily, and prevents it from being released into the atmosphere as a greenhouse gas. So it's a great way to store carbon in the ground.
I've been working in the re-veg industry for many years, doing re-veg projects across Victoria, and I've noticed that very little focus has been given to the soil and the soil microbiology. Re-veg projects focus more on getting trees in the ground, and some sites are quite degraded, so it's not uncommon to have quite low survival rates. I now work with an organisation called Nature's Roots, and we're using biochar as an effective host for microorganisms, and by placing the microorganisms in the soil alongside seed planting and tree planting projects, we're looking after the ecosystem from the micro all the way to the macro, and I like to see it as just like a house needs a solid foundation, the ecosystem relies on a good foundation of microorganisms to support the life within it. So we are currently undergoing trials using biochar to activate the soil biology in degraded landscapes. We are researching different types of biochar material for our program and comparing the commercially produced biochar available, which is made from a mixture of different hardwood species, with biochar that we make on site with just endemic local hardwood species.
We're a small-scale market garden. This is only an acre here. We grow all organically, all biodynamically, and we grow a huge range of veggies and take them to the farmers market to sell. We've done a demonstration plot to compare the biochar without using it. We've made up a solution of biochar at a 5% ratio for the soil, and of course we've charged that with different things. We've then mixed it into the soil, and we've grown quite a few different things: corn, beans, celery. We're now growing celeriac, garlic and Chinese cabbage. So far it's looking like there are some promising things happening, so that's kind of exciting too. We're just really interested in expanding what we can do to make healthier soil, and we're always on the lookout for little additives or things, amendments that we can add in. There's also a whole lot of great research out there about biochar, and so we wanted to try it ourselves. And we have seen some good things. So some of the benefits, some of the plants are very, very much healthier. We can see that in that test plot. We're seeing less disease, so disease resistance, and probably just an overall slightly larger, healthier looking plant. I think that's pretty cool.
This is a new planting for Max Forbes wines. For a lot of Mac's career, he's been buying fruit, but they became increasingly concerned about fruit security in the Yarra Valley because of the spread of phylloxera. Also, changing climate, it's getting hotter lower in the valley, so we've moved up the valley, and this is a truly premium place to grow grapes. This is absolutely fantastic. So we've got a plot of land here, we've got a Cabernet planting here, and American rootstock that'll be grafted this year. We're also growing Pinot and Pinot in a close planted block. We used biochar when we planted the block here, so every time we dug a hole in went some biochar along with some fertiliser and compost, and then we're also spreading biochar under the vines to promote biological activity at the vine's roots. So what we want out of the biochar is a couple of different things. Firstly, we dry grow here because we think that produces a really premium grape, and so we're looking for increased moisture retention in our soils. We also want to have really healthy activation of the organic nutrients in the soil, and we know biochar will do that for us. So rather than just sort of pour synthetic fertilisers on, we want, like healthy soils feeding the plants.
Wild Ridge Farm started in 2021 with quite an ambitious objective of being a sort of regenerative permaculture based lifestyle property with an emphasis on grazing. And it's evolved since then to really want to work in that agroecology space, a lot of bush regeneration, agroforestry, rotational grazing management, and just best practice environmental stewardship of the lands. We grow food, orchards and veggies. We run a mixed flock of cows and sheep. And to date we've probably planted about 10,000 native plants. I've been aware of the benefits of biochar for well over 10 years. So when the opportunity was here to have a local source, bulk local source of biochar, it kind of fitted in with the experimentation we're doing here in terms of soil improvements. The soils here are naturally very poor. So we are in a process of doing pasture renovation. It was a no-brainer for us to do some trials with biochar and see if we could pick up any discernible difference between areas and different rates of biochar application and areas where it wasn't being applied. So we started using that earlier this year, and we would hope by the end of this year that if there is anything to be able to visually or observe, we should be able to see that. But we'll also soil test those areas and compare that against our historical soil data. And so we've just had 3 areas, one at approximately 10 cubic metres per hectare, another plot at 5 cubic metres per hectare, and then a control spot. All the other soil work was consistent across all 3 spots. We get heavy rainfall here in winter. We would hope that that might be one of the benefits we see, that it holds on to nutrients a little bit longer in the soil.